Okay, so welcome again to my class. As I told you before, today we are going to deal with two more teaching methods, which are gamification and the other is flipped classroom. So, Alan, have you heard about gamification before?
Yes, I have. So
Mhm.
it's a way of making activities more interesting for students by making them into a game, making them interactive.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. Segundo, have you heard about flipped classroom?
Well, this is the first time I heard that this term, but I think
Mhm.
um, it's a method for students to learn something.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it changes traditional ways of learning something into something more innovative.
Okay, yes, you're right. Uh-huh. Okay, so today we're going to learn how to apply those methods in our classes. And of course, we need to conceptualize each one of these methods for you to understand. So the first method we are going to deal with is gamification. So as we have here, it deals with some games, but it is not just to um to get into the classroom and saying students, so now let's play a game. And the students, of course, your students are going to get really, really happy because maybe they think that they want to receive classes, and maybe they would think that they are just going to go outside and play any type of game. So that's the main difference between gamification and the other in other games, in other um, regular games. Okay, so what you do here, it is turning learning into an adventure. So here, during gamification, your students may learn while playing. That's the first thing. Your students are not conscious that they are learning, but they are learning, but they are playing. Yeah. But here, the teacher has different roles. Okay. So let's first read the definition. David, can you help me please reading the definition?
Sure thing. Right, gamification definition. Gamification means using game elements in the classroom, like points, badges, challenges, and rewards, to make learning more interactive and motivating. It helps students stay engaged, enjoy the process, and develop important skills.
Thank you very much, David. So here, during a gamification, the teacher uses something really, really important and something which is the key for applying this method in the classroom, which is game elements. Yeah. Please pay attention to this part, game elements. So it is, there are lots of game elements when applying gamification. Well, later we are going to see some of them, but some examples are the points, are the badges, challenges, and rewards. So those are just examples for you to be aware about which are those game elements. Okay, so if the teacher uses these game elements in the classroom, it means that the teacher is using gamification. But the first thing here is that the teacher needs to have a goal, to set a goal during the class. Yeah? For example, let's see, okay, today I'm going to teach my students some, let's see, yeah, wild animals. So, what do I want my students to learn about wild animals? Yeah, I want them to maybe to identify those animals. I want them to pronounce those words in a correct way, and well, it would depend on the teacher's objective. Okay, so first, the teacher here needs to have a clear goal for the class, and then having that goal or objective, now the teacher is going to prepare or to plan the games together with the game elements. Yeah, let's see more about this. How did this method evolve? Can you please help me reading, Lorena?
Sure. Evolution of gamification in education. In the past, games in the classroom were mostly used as simple warm-up activities, icebreakers, or to reward students after completing lessons. Their purpose was mainly to entertain or refresh attention. However, today research shows that games can be much more powerful tools. Gamification now serves to deepen learning, promote critical thinking, and encourage collaboration among students. When teachers integrate games elements truthfully, students don't just play. They solve problems, apply knowledge, and develop real-world skills in a dynamic, motivating environment. Gamification has evolved from being a side activity to becoming a good method for making learning more meaningful, interactive, and effective.
Uh-huh. Okay, so maybe most of us remember that in the past, teachers used those games just as simple warm-up activities, icebreakers. For example, when they have 2 hours, and they say, okay, I see my students that are tired. So, okay, now let's play a game. Let's develop a warm-up activity. Let's do something. And just to make them to get maybe engaged in the classroom because they are tired, because they are bored and something like that. So, or just to reward the students and say, okay, as you finished this task, you are allowed to play a game outside the classroom. Yeah. And in that way, games were used by the teacher. Yeah, it was just to make students to entertain or to refresh attention. But there was not any goal for your students. And through those games, students didn't learn something related maybe to the content that the teacher was covering during the class, no? But now there is some research that shows that those games are powerful tools. Yeah, but of course, the teacher needs to be trained about um, how to how to prepare the game and how to apply that game in the classroom. Yeah. For example, we have a famous game which is hangman. In Spanish is ahorcado. Yeah. And I remember that well when I was a very young teacher. I didn't know about gamification at that time, but I used a lot this hangman. Say, okay, now are you bored? Oh yes, teacher. Okay, let's play hangman. Yeah. But now, what would happen if I want to teach my students the alphabet? So Handman is going to help me a lot. So my students are going to play that game, but they don't know that through that game they are learning about the alphabet. Yeah, but of course I need to have or I need to set that clear objective in my classroom, and I need to choose which are my game elements for saying that I am playing gamification. Yeah, there are lots of teachers who say, "Oh, do you play gamification in your class?" Oh, yes, yes, I do a lots of things. And when I ask them, okay, which game elements do you apply when using this gamification? Say, oh my God, what's that? What are those game elements? Yeah. So when you use those game elements, now you can say that you are using gamification in your classroom, but not just saying, okay, no, I'm just ask my students to play a game outside, or then I ask them to play maybe with a ball or with some realia, etc. Yeah. Okay. So remember, teachers need to integrate these game elements thoughtfully. Yeah. So here, your students do not just play. It is not just playing. They solve problems, they apply knowledge, they develop real world skills into a dynamic scenario. Yeah. So of course, when you have a clear idea on how to use those games, your students are going to get engaged with the content. They are going to demonstrate that they have learned something through those games. Okay, so let's see what else do I have for you. Okay, so what is the focus on gamification? Yeah, it is not about winning, yes. And the real goal of gamification it is not just winning prizes. It is about enjoying learning. Yeah. Enjoyment promotes intrinsic motivation and, of course, leading students to love learning. Yeah. So when we apply this method, we are not fostering competition, but we are fostering this intrinsic motivation in our students. Let's see which are the benefits of gamification. Well, the first benefit is that of course, it increases motivation and participation, but you need to know how to do this. Yeah, so that all your students may be involved in the classroom through this methodology. Yeah, so it increases motivation and participation. It improves collaboration and critical thinking. Yes, because, well, when you ask students to play, we regularly ask them to play in teams. So, of course, they are going to work into a collaborative environment. And according to the content, or according to the instructions that you give to your students, they are going to think critically. Yeah, of course it is just according to what you ask your students to do. It helps students retain information better. Yes, if your students are playing, they are going to retain more information in a better way. It is not just ask students to say, okay, repeat after me. Bicycle. Okay, bicycle. Repeat after me, train. Yeah, it is not the same as asking them maybe, okay, the first one, or let's form two teams. The first team in maybe in choosing some toys regarding transportation is going to play. Yeah, so they are going to retain the information in a better way. So it makes learning more inclusive and fun. Yeah, why? Because there are some students who are really shy. They are students maybe who do not like to practice speaking because they think the other students are going to pay lots of attention to what these students is saying and so on. So it is really, really inclusive for and so that all the students are going to participate. So here I have for you some examples of game elements. Remember, gamification involves the use of game elements. It is not just a game. Yeah, when you use those game elements, now you can say that gamification has been used in your classroom. So, what are game elements? Those are parts of the games. Like, yeah, we have some points, rewards, levels, and challenges that we use to make learning more fun and engaging. Yeah. These elements turn learning into a mission, where every effort, every success, and even every mistake helps students to move forward. Okay, let's see. What's the description of some of those game elements? So I'm going to ask, let's see. Okay, Alan, help me please reading this slide.
Sure.
Points.
Okay, so points reward students for correct answers or completed tasks, showing immediate progress.
So as I'm sorry, Alan, let me explain this and then you can continue. You know that if we use some points, we can make them visible, for example, in on the board. Yeah, yeah. Maybe you ask students to form groups of 5 people, yeah, and then you have just 3 groups. Okay, and say, okay, now this group is going to choose a name. This other group choose another name and something like that. Okay, what's your group's name? Okay, my group's name is the Angels. Okay, Angels, and the teacher writes the name over there on the board. And what is the other name? Okay, we are called the Transformers. Okay, let's write it down. And the other one. So when they play, they are going to get some points, and you need to make those points visible so they would know. And of course, they are going to get more engaged when say, "Oh my God, we have 3 points." Or the other, "Oh, we have 2 points. We need to get more to win this game." And the progress is visualized by the students. Yeah. So let's continue, please, Alan.
Okay, badges. Badges show when someone has done something well or learned a new skill. They are like awards you can see.
Yeah, there are lots of things that we can use as badges, and of course, students love those badges, love to receive those badges. So it is not just looking at the points there over there on the board, but if you give them some badges, yeah, it is going to be more meaningful and more motivating for them. Continue, please.
Levels. Organize learning into steps, starting with small goals that build up to bigger learning achievements.
Yes, of course, you need to organize the learning into steps. Of course, all of those things you're going to do during your class. And yeah, you need to organize into some levels. So maybe you can start with the with some in the easy level, and make you can increase those level until getting students to know what you have planned during your lesson. Okay, continue, please.
Okay, leaderboards. displays rankings to foster friendly competition and
Oh, oh,
motivate
I'm sorry.
continuous improvement.
Challenges. You skipped
Sorry.
challenges.
Challenges. Presents tasks in steps that involve thinking and solving problems, helping build deeper learning and engagement.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's why it is using gamification needs lots of creativity from the teachers. So we need to present some challenges for our students. Yeah, yeah. As I said before, there are some levels, and maybe those challenges can go together with those levels. Okay, let's continue, please, Alan.
Okay, so now leaderboards.
Now,
The displays rankings to foster friendly competition and motivate continuous improvement.
Excellent. We have that. Uh, well, an example of this, we have this Kahoot. Yeah, have you played Kahoot? At the end, we know or we can see those leaderboards, which is in the first place, in the second, and in the third place. So it would be necessary to use those leaderboards. Okay. Um, and let me tell you something. During gamification, it is not mandatory to use all of these game elements in your classroom, but of course, it is necessary. Yeah, if you cannot maybe make students to visualize those leaderboards, yeah, that's not problem. You can use just the points, yeah, on the board, or maybe you can use another way to see those points. Yeah. So let's continue, please, with rules.
Rules. The teacher gives clear instructions on what to do, how to earn points, and how to win.
Uh-huh. It is a very, very important game element. So I would recommend to use this game element rules. In every single game, you need to set rules to your students so they are going to know what they do not have to do, what they need to do to maybe to win that game or to have a collaborative environment during the classroom. Yeah, so teacher needs to provide clear instruction so that students may need to know how to win something, how to play, how to deal with the members of the group. Of course, if you're going to use some groups, because you can also ask students to play in an individual way. But remember, one of the main characteristics of this is to form groups, to ask students to work collaboratively. So most of the time when using gamification, it means to work in teams. Yeah, let's continue with the next slide. Yeah, we have more game elements here. So let's continue, please. Okay, Alan, thank you very much for your help. Now I'm going to ask, let's see, another person can help me. Okay, Leandro, can you please help me? Leandro, are you there? No, Leandro. Okay. Joana Lucero, are you there?
Yes, teacher, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Help me, please, reading.
Instant feedback provides time and respond on performance, correct, incorrect, helping the student adjust immediately.
So this is another game elements that you couldn't omit. Yeah, it is important to provide the corresponding feedback to your students. Yeah, it can be during the game, after the game, but you need to use this game element. And you need to provide real-time responses about the performance of your students during the game. Yeah, well, in this case, it says instant feedback, which means to provide that feedback in that moment in order to ask students to adjust those maybe corrections in an immediate way. Okay, let's continue, please. Progress.
Progress part visually how far students have come in a task, fostering a sense of achievement.
So, well, the progress bars are similar to the points are similar to the other one that we have before. So it would depend on how you want to make students to visualize how um, they are maybe progressing on the task through the game. Continue, please. Avatars.
Avatars characters allow personalization and identity in the game world, increasing emotional investment.
Uh-huh. Well, we mostly have those avatars in virtual games. You know that there are lots of um, resources which contain gamification. So, on the other hand, if you're going to work with this method in your classroom, you can ask students to choose a character or names or something. So they are going to, they are going to, or their emotions are going to get increased. So, for example, nowadays we have lots of comics, lots of cartoons. So maybe you can ask your students to choose the one or maybe the some artists and so on. So that would be more engaging for your students, yeah, or simply to name the group by using their favorite character or a cartoon or anything that they prefer. Okay, let's continue, please, with the next one.
A time constraint.
Uh-huh.
Set time on task in a step to help learners concentrate and get used to working under pressure like in real life.
It is important to set limits to set the corresponding time to finish that game. So you can't say, okay, during these 45 minutes, you're going to play a game. No. And you know that it is a kind of a healthy competition. So you need to monitor what students do. You need to be together with your students, not just to ask them to play. No, it is necessary to be there with your students, yeah, and set the time. Okay, you're going to do this in 5 minutes, and you have to keep your watch with you. No, have a watch with you, so that your students may be or may realize about the time that when they need to do something together. Yeah, let's continue with the other one, Tim.
Team mechanics.
Mhm.
Students work together in groups to complete activities and help each other reach a common goal.
So team mechanics. Team mechanics are activities or strategies that help students work together on a team. So this time, during this or through these game elements, your students need to work together in order to compete, in order to complete the activities, and to help each other to reach the common goal. Which is the common goal for them? To win. Yeah, they do not or they are not aware that they are learning something through that game. So they are going to to do something to reach that goal, which is to win the game. And the last one, rewards.
Reward offer tangible or digital reward, sticker, extra point, reinforcing positive behavior and effort.
So, well, which rewards would teachers need to give students? Yeah, it may depend on the teachers, yeah, but please do not give lots of candy to your students. No, because you're going to get to spend all the money just to make them feel happy. Yeah, though there are some tangible rewards that like stickers, extra points. Well, the youngest students are really, really happy just to have some seals in their hands, in their face, or in their notebooks. Yeah, and maybe the oldest ones, they would be happy to receive some extra points, or maybe if you say, okay, tomorrow we are going to have a lesson, but if you win the game, you are not going to have to take that lesson. So that would be a very good reward. Yeah, there are some teachers who maybe uses maybe some candy like chocolates and something like that. But please do not do regularly. Yeah, well, that's okay, but some very, very some time. Yeah, sometimes. Okay, so those are some of the game elements. So now you know that if you use those game elements in your classroom, it means that you are applying this gamification. Yeah. So what is the teacher's role when applying this method? Let's continue. Okay, let's see who's going to help me. Selena, are you there?
Yes, teacher, good afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon, Selena. Please help me reading.
Okay, and define clear objectives. Teachers should start by establishing the purpose of the gamified environment. For example, the goal might be to encourage participation in a group of students who are struggling academically. Having a clear objective ensures the gamification strategy aligns with desired outcomes.
Okay. So as
The
I
next
told you
one
before,
too, or not?
okay, just let me tell you something. As I told you before, we need to establish a clear goal for our class. Yeah. Yeah, there are some teachers who say that, okay, I can see that these students didn't understand my class. So what else can I do? Say, okay, I'm going to apply gamification. So most of the students are struggling with this topic. So, well, let's try this method. Yeah, but first we need to set this clear objective so that we are going to ensure the desired outcomes. Continue, please. Guidance support.
Guide and support students. Teachers play a crucial role in mentoring students through the gamified experience, helping them develop key skills and competencies. This guidance ensures students stay on track and understand how to apply what they are learning.
So remember here, the teacher becomes in a guide, becomes in someone that supports students during the application of gamification. Provide frequent.
Provide frequent feedback. Regular feedback is essential during gamified activities as it helps students gauge their progress and understand areas for improvement. This ongoing support keeps students motivated and focused on their learning goals.
Yeah, as it is part of game elements, we need to provide this frequent feedback to your students. Yeah? If you do not provide this feedback, okay, it is not going to work. Also, as every single method, as teacher, our role as teachers is provide feedback. Okay, so let's finish with the last one. Use simple.
Use simple and natural assessment. In gamified activities, assessments should feel like part of the game, not like a stressful test. Teachers can observe students during the activity to see what they understand and what they still need to improve. In this way, students learn and are assessed at the game time while staying motivated and engaged.
So we need to use simple and natural assessment. So it doesn't mean that we are going to say, okay, now I'm going to, or you're going to be assessed. No, they don't know. They even don't know that they are assessed through that game. So the role here of the teacher is just to observe students during that activity so that you would know if they understood or not what you have taught before. Okay, thank you very much. Let's continue with the next method, which is the flipped classroom. So can you see the image here? So
Yes,
that's the meaning of flipped classroom. To change the traditional way of teaching into, or we flip the traditional way of teaching. So let's see what's this. So Lorena, can you help me reading the definition?
Yeah, sure. Definition. A dynamic student-centered method was swapped traditional model of lecture in class, homework at home.
Mhm.
Students watch videos, read or explore materials at home, then use class time for active and collaborative exercises.
Okay, so thank you, Lorena. So the traditional way of teaching is just standing up there in front of the classroom and say, okay, today we're going to learn this. I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to explain you this, and then you're going to practice. I'm going to monitor the class and so on. No, that's the traditional way of teaching. Yeah, but what happens here with the use of flipped classroom? Here, the first thing is that it is a student-centered method. So, which means that the student is the main character of the learning process. So how does it work? We have here students watch videos, students are asked to read or explore materials at home. Then use class time for active collaborative exercises. Yeah, but pay attention to this aspect here. There are some misconceptions about the use of the flipped classroom. There are some teachers who say, okay, no, I don't want to plan my classes. I don't want to teach my class, so I'm going to ask students to watch a video about yeah, let's see the past participle, for example. Say, okay, students, please watch a video about the past participle. This is the link so that you're going to do that. And then tomorrow I'm going to, or you are going to give an exposition about what you have learned. Yeah. And the teacher said, oh yes, I am applying the flipped classroom. And not, that's not the flipped classroom. That's not the definition of the flipped classroom. So how do you, or what do you need to do to apply this very, very appropriate method? So first, we're going to see which are the characteristics. Let me see. Lauren, are you there? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Joan? Joan Samuel, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, help me please, Joan. Which are the characteristics of this flipped classroom?
Reverse roles.
Uh-huh.
Main content delivery, lectures, readings, videos. Happens before class. Class time is for application.
Continue, please.
Student-centered student-centered learning. Learners control when, where, and how fast they engage with pre-class materials. Active in class engagement. Face-to-face time is dedicated to discussion, problem solving, and collaborative projects. Flexible pacing. Students can pause, rewind, or review videos and readings to match their own learning needs.
Okay, so we have reversed roles. Here, the teacher is in charge of selecting videos, of selecting some readings or lectures, so that your students are going to watch or to read at home, yeah, at their own pace. That's why it is flexible. And it is student-centered learning because students can control when, where, and how fast they engage or they get the knowledge about the pre-class materials. Yeah. So, but look at this. There are some teachers who use videos for about 2 hours. Oh my God, students are not going to watch the whole video. No, you need to prepare. Yeah, there are some tasks about the teacher. Sometimes the teacher is in charge of preparing the video or recording the video. Yeah, that's why it is a challenging method. Or the teacher can select the video maybe from YouTube, from Vimeo, and other type of resources. But of course, those videos need to have all the content or the knowledge that as teachers want from students to get. Yeah. So this is the first step, maybe to record, to write, or select the materials. Those are called pre-class materials. So the teachers ask students to watch or to read at their own pace. Yeah, they watch it as many times as they need to understand. Yeah, in this case, let's continue with the example of the past participle. Yeah, but here it is not the end. Together with the pre-class material, you are going to send your students an activity or a task, yeah, to fulfill or to develop immediately after watching or after reading the material or the videos. So that is one way to make sure that your students have watched the videos or read information from the readings, or they have watched the lectures. Yeah, that is another key element about the flipped classroom. Not just asking them to watch a video or to read something, but to send them to work on an activity that is related to the information that they are going to watch, that they are going to read. Yeah. For example, you can prepare maybe a worksheet through quizzes, for example, or Quizlet. I can I guess is the name of the resource. Okay, you're going to watch the video, and when
Quizlet
you
or Padlet.
Oh, yeah,
Quizlet
Padlet.
Quizlet or Padlet, yeah.
Okay, thank you, dear David. So you say, okay, you're not just going to watch the video, but I want you to develop this activity. Yeah. And of course, it is some time consuming for you as teacher because you need first to watch the video, to read something. You need to know what you're going to, or what your students are going to watch or to read. And then you need to prepare something which is related to that pre-class material. Yeah. So, well, together with this, you can use any material. It can be technological tool or maybe physical material, yeah, to ask your students to complete after watching the video or after reading something. Yeah. So that is the first step to do at the home. So, okay, the students are going to watch. Okay, how does past participle work? So, what is the structure? So, okay, I have here some examples. Yeah. Okay, so the teacher has explained very well. Yeah, if the teacher has recorded the video and say, okay, so I'm ready. I'm ready to do the activity. Yeah, and then he starts to do this. And of course, it is one of the things that makes the teachers to be sure about if your students have watched or not the the material. Yeah. So the next day during the class, you are not going to teach what you have asked your students to watch. No, we are going to do the following thing. Let's continue. Let's continue with the rest of characteristics. So I want, please, Fernanda, are you there? Fernanda?
Yeah, teacher, I have.
Okay. Continue, please, with intentional content selection.
Okay, teacher. Sorry, interest content selection. Teacher select or create is high click. Sorry,
Quality, high quality,
high quality. Goal aligned and material especially for
specifically.
specifically for out of class study.
Continue, please.
Okay. In intrusion as is sorry
Facilitator,
facilitator in class. The teacher guides is coach and provides immediate feedback later, sorry than lecture.
lecturing, rather than lecturing.
Okay. Thank you. Peer
Peer
collaboration, class activities often invite
involve teamwork.
involve teamwork, peer interaction, and shared problem solving. Okay.
Continues.
Continuous assessment, informal checks, quizzes, polls, and in-class tasks in real time insights into students' understanding.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, well, the teacher is in charge of create, look at this, high quality materials, gold aligned materials. Yeah. Specifically for out of class study. This is the main characteristic. Out of class study. So the teacher here guides, coaches, and providing needed feedback rather than lecturing. It means that the teacher is not going to teach the class, is not going to become a lecturer during the class. No. Okay, so it requires the peer collaboration as students involved in teamwork. There would be the teacher would give peer instruction or shared problem solving that the students may need to work. And of course, there would be some informal checks as quizzes, polls, and in-class tasks give real insight into a student understanding. Yeah. So besides the activity that you have used together with the videos, you are in charge of preparing more activities. Yeah, more tasks to make students to work, to solve problems, to critically think, and of course, to work with their peers. Yeah, let's continue. There are some limitations when using this. The first one is the access, maybe the access to nowadays to internet. So not all students have access to internet or maybe to some devices at home. Yeah, so it is a limitation, especially the ones maybe who live in rural areas. Yeah, maybe they do not count on internet, or maybe they do not have cell phones, and so on. Okay, so it deals with preparation time. Yeah, the teacher needs to create or find high quality videos. The teacher needs to find readings or interactive resources which require significant time and effort from the teacher. Yeah, you know that looking for videos, yeah, it requires lots of time because you need to know if it fits with your goals. Yeah, it requires a student responsibility. If students do not check those pre-class work, they are going to arrive unprepared for the classes. So those students don't want to have to do anything in the next day. So that is one of the limitations. So it is resistance to change. Yeah, both students and also teachers, as they are accustomed to traditional lectures, may resist this new model and need time to adapt. Yeah, as I told you before, there are some teachers who say, okay, tomorrow I want to give classes, I want to teach classes, and so I'm going to just my students to watch a video, and tomorrow they are going to prepare. The task is to prepare a PowerPoint presentation, and the next day they are going to explain the class. No, that is not the characteristic of this flipped classroom. So it is part of their resistance to change. And the classroom management also, because you need to be active and you need to provide varied activities in class, and which demands a strong organizational and monitoring skills from the teacher, and quality of pre-class content, as if you prepare poorly produced or overly long materials, they can confuse to your students, and of course they are going to feel disengaged before entering to the classroom. So pedagogically talking, a good video or an appropriate length for a video is no more than 5 minutes. Yeah, so you need to look or to record very short videos so your students are going to get engaged with what they are watching. Okay? And as the rest of methodologies, there are some teachers and students roles. So what is the teacher's role here? First, the teacher is in charge of selecting and sharing engaging pre-materials. Yeah, as I said before, videos, reading, quizzes, etc. The teacher needs to design and lead in-class activities that apply and deepen learning. The teacher gives immediate constructive feedback during the class, encourages students to ownership, and maintains a supportive learning environment, plans critical thinking tasks, prepares project and problem solving activities, which can be kind of hard, but not impossible for the teachers. But it requires lots of time to prepare those materials or to those activities. The teacher is in charge of monitoring students' progress and dynamics, adjusting support as needed. And the teacher provides additional help, resource, and clarification when students struggle maybe from something. And what is the student's role? The students need to review and study the materials at home, yeah, in order to get the foundational understanding. The student is in charge of participating in discussions, in participating in group work, in hands-on activity during the class. The students need to reflect on the feedback provided by the teacher. The students need to take responsibility for their own learning at home and, of course, to stay motivated to complete all the tasks, yeah, at home and during the class. And they need to collaborate with the peers, share insights, support others' learning. And the students need to ask questions, seek help proactively, and use resources to overcome some problems during the classroom. And to finish this, which method did you enjoy the most? Tell me, please, and which method do you think is most effective for you as teacher? Yeah, tell me, please, who wants to give me an answer? Who wants to start? David?
Yeah, I'll start. I've been quiet today. Personally, I've actually used both. I really like gamification, not gammy. Gamification works very, very well. I use Hangman a lot to teach vocabulary and
Uh-huh.
also to get the students to work in groups. So I mix my groups for certain Hangman games into strong students and weak students so they work together. They need to liaise before they give an answer. I have tried the flipped classroom a number of times, and it's been a disaster because of one problem. The problem is responsibility of the students. It has been very, very difficult. I was teaching grade 12 business, close, okay, content in English, but I could not get them to be responsible enough to actually take ownership of their own grades or whatever. So I moved over more, I prefer more self-discovery type lessons where you incorporate self-discovery and gamification. Gamification, for example, the second conditional, right? If I was king for a day, I would. You build something on that where they've got to find the two rules, both forms of the second conditional on their own, through a whole lot of activities where they're working in groups, creating their own little worlds, for example.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I
Sure.
totally agree with you. That is the main, I would say the first limitations, the students' responsibility. Yeah, and so what would happen if maybe 80% of them didn't watch the material, didn't check the material? So it would be a disaster. You know, as teachers, we need to have plan B. B plan. Yeah, okay. So, well, I'm going to prepare another thing, but it is time consuming for the teacher, definitely. Okay, thank you very much for your excellent participation today. So, which method do you think is the most effective for you as teacher? So, I want another person to answer this question, please. Who wants? Okay, Lorena.
I would say gamification. That's the one. I think it's because it's more fun and it's more, for me, it's more engaging for little ones.
Uh-huh.
So they,
Okay.
they can watch colors or they can play a game and they can get the content and if I give them something, so they can motivate each other so they can have the prize. So, but they have the prize like points, but And for myself as a teacher, I have the content already got in there in mind. So I think that gamification is the most will really work for me.
Okay, yes, I would definitely agree with you since well, it is also time consuming because we need to define which game is going to work well with my students, which game is going to get them to be involved into the learning and well, we need to think a lot of all of the things, all of the aspects that I'm going to cover during my classroom. Okay, so